Well, let me thank everyone for being here. I especially thank the press for coming. We believe that Univision is a pool camera today, so we thank you for being here so that we can get the message to the masses. We are honored to have the Secretary, Acting Secretary of Labor with us today, the Honorable Julie Chu. Excuse me, Sue, thank you. Judy Chu is a member of Congress. She is the chairperson of KPAC. So I'm honored to have her with me, and we'd like to have her say just a word in a moment, but I want you to know that these people who are standing on the stage have come from around the city, but also across the state of Texas, so as to be with us on this day. We annually have this event. It is a labor appreciation and a legislative update. So today we are appreciating the working people. We want them to know that there are people who are fighting for them to make sure that they have good working conditions and that they get a decent day's pay for a hard day's work. But in addition to that, we have a special guest, the Honorable Julie Sue, who is going to give commentary. So at this time, I will yield to her because she is the reason that you are here. Thank you, and let's give her a big expression of appreciation, please.
Thank you. Well, thank you again, Congressman, for inviting me, for bringing together my favorite people in Texas all in one place, and for your leadership in Congress. It's truly most appreciated for being our partner in the work. I'll just very briefly say that part of the reason I'm in Texas is because we in this administration under President Biden and Vice President Harris have pledged to be the most pro-worker, pro-union administration this country has ever seen. And we want to be very clear to all workers in Texas that includes you and our advocacy for you. And we know that there are still workplaces where workers don't get their full day's pay, maybe work over 40 hours a week and are denied their overtime pay, who get injured on the job and are intimidated when they report that, and who try to join a union and are retaliated against. And our message is that that will not happen on our watch, not on our watch. Part of being the most pro-worker, pro-union administration is making sure that all workers know that we see you, we hear you, we're fighting for you, and we have your back. One example of that is that people in Texas know that it's hot and that heat is a problem. And for working people, it is not just inconvenient, it's not just uncomfortable, but it is actually a hazard. And heat is the leading cause of death among all weather-related phenomena. It's more than hurricanes, tornadoes, and floods combined. And yet there has never been a nationwide standard to protect workers from the hazards of heat until now. And we've proposed that standard. It would put in place some common sense protections for workers like cool water, shade, a place to rest, and paid breaks, and we believe that it's common sense. Now, it's especially important to come to Texas to talk about that because in the state of Texas, there is now a prohibition from the state, from cities and counties protecting their workers from the hazards of heat. And so we say that federal law protects you, and that federal law provides a floor under which nobody should be forced to live and work. And that applies in Texas and applies all around the country. And that's because working people are valued, workers are important, and every job should be a good job. So thank you again to all the union leaders who are here, who are demonstrating that every single day, who are organizing sometimes under very difficult circumstances, who are standing up for workers, raising workers' voices. We also hear you, we see you, and we've got your back. So,
all right.
Yeah.
Let's give the Secretary a hand, please. I will briefly mention one additional piece of legislation. We have a hard stop, which is why I'm rushing through this. I promised the Secretary that we'll have her out timely, and I will. But I do want to mention the Raise the Wage Act. This is an important piece of legislation because we have many people in this city who are working for $7.25 an hour. Elsa is here. Elsa understands this. Elsa led the protest movement to get the wages raised for the people who are in the janitorial service business, the workers who are in this business. And she was successful at getting it done. But we have to, yes, give Elsa an expression. This is not the first time we've had to do this. And I have tried my best to make sure that we never have to do it again, which is why it's important for us to support this legislation, H.R. 4889, sponsored by the Honorable Bobby Scott in Congress. I believe that raising the wage to $17 an hour is going to help. But quite frankly, I think now we've been trying to get it raised for so many years that $17 an hour is not going to be enough. We're probably at a point now where the wage needs to be above $20 an hour. So I, as your member of Congress here, would ask that all of the members of the labor unions continue to do what you're doing. But people at home, you need to know how important it is to help people who are making life better for you. People such as the people on the stage, I'm one of them, we go into workplaces and we find them nice and neat. We find the latrines acceptable. These are people who work hard, but they're at the very lowest end of the wage scale. And if you can find it in your heart to do something to help them, I ask that you do so too. Everyone in this country should not be put in a position where you're working full time and you do not have a living wage. You ought to be able to live off of a 40-hour week wage, every person. So this is another reason why she's here, to help us to get this done. And I thank her for coming, and we welcome any questions that you have. Yes, Spanish, okay. Let me see. Rachel, maybe I will. Elsa? Okay.
They're coming up.
Okay.
No hablo muy bien, pero puedo decirle algunas palabras. Yo soy Julie Sue, la secretaria interina del Departamento de Trabajo, y estoy aquí hoy con el Congressman Green y con todos estos líderes de los sindicatos para decir que esta administración está al lado de todos los trabajadores y sabemos que el poder de sindicatos es el poder de este país. Y cuando los sindicatos son fuertes, la economía es más fuerte y nuestro país también es más fuerte. Y entonces siempre estamos luchando al lado de trabajadores.
The secretary is polyglot, as you can see. She speaks at least 3 languages, and unfortunately, I only speak 2, English and fluent Ghettoese. So I'll translate for you in Ghettoese later. But Elsa, because you have worked with the janitors, I think it appropriate to give you an opportunity to say a word about this. This is really something that touches the heart. When you meet the people who are living in small apartments, sometimes for multiple families, they have to pool their resources just to keep a roof over their heads. This means something to us to know that the secretary would be here to help support the cause of the minimum wage workers. We often talk about others, but the minimum wage workers need the help that she can provide, and we thank her for coming. Give her another hand, please. And now, Elsa.
I'm going to say this part in English because I think it's appropriate. First of all, I want to thank Congressman Al Green, Acting Secretary Shu, for being here today and lifting up workers in Texas, right? I want to also say it takes a village to do that. You see everybody that's here. Congressman, thank you for saying about the work that SEIU has done and the members of SEIU, but I would not be right for me to take that credit alone, because it takes a village, labor together, really lifting up all workers in Texas, because if we raise the bottom, everybody else is going to go up. En español, para los compañeros que están aquí en español, quiero darle agradecimiento al congresista Al Green, que siempre ha sido el campeón de los trabajadores aquí en Texas, siempre ha estado con nosotros. También muchísimas gracias a la secretaria Julie Shu por estar aquí con nosotros. Texas necesita hacer muchos cambios, necesitamos campeones, y la verdad que esta administración ha sido la más pro unión que hemos tenido en mucho tiempo. Están haciendo lo que nuestro estado no está haciendo, protegiendo el trabajador, dándonos el derecho que necesitamos. De nuevo, estamos hablando sobre salarios. No solamente las personas están teniendo que juntarse y vivir juntas en apartamentos para poder hacer lo que tienen que hacer en este estado, están teniendo que trabajar hasta 2 o 3 trabajos porque tristemente todavía no pueden llegar ni tan siquiera a un salario de $15 la hora. Gracias a Dios, en algunas situaciones hemos podido levantarlo, pero todavía tenemos muchas personas aquí en el estado de Texas que todavía ganan menos de eso y no podemos vivir con esos salarios. Texas puede hacer mejor, pero para hacer eso tenemos que hacer cambios. Así que, compañeros, es hora de salir y hacer nuestras voces que salgan adelante. Gracias.
Final speaker will be our state president of the AFL-CIO. We're going to ask him to do something difficult, and that is be terse and laconic. Let's give Rick a big hand, please.
Thank you, Congressman. Thank you, Secretary and Elsa and all the labor leaders here. I'm so moved by the fact that people are coming together in these times to really say that there's a different vision of Texas, that there's a different vision that if we all struggle together, we can achieve. From the folks who make the very minimum wage and sometimes less, and thank you for policing that for us as well, to everyone who deserves a fair wage and a safe place to work. You're bringing us together. You make it happen. We will stay together. We will change this state, and we will continue to have the most pro-union, pro-worker leadership that we could even imagine. So thank you for your leadership. Thank you all for being part of this movement, and let's go do the work together.
Thank you, Rick. And I thank everyone for being here. If there are no questions, we will excuse ourselves. All right. Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.